Continuation of this tornado warning simply because of the fact that we do have reports that a funnel is trying to come down, and this does now include parts of our viewing area into the northern half of Sumter County. And you can see it is quickly moving off. Each radar scan, we're starting to see it elongate more and more. And again, just outside of Floral City, we're not into our viewing area just yet, but this is a little too close for comfort, and the National Weather Service has indeed increased the duration for this warning. And it's unfortunate, using the Tampa radar, we have a bit of a ring blur going on here from the radar, so we can't quite capture it. Before it wandered into this dead zone, it did look like the consolidated rotation of this storm's core was starting to disperse a little bit. It was losing that tightened up vortex signature, which is a good sign. I'll go ahead and switch us back over to the actual radar so we can keep a close eye on it. And yeah, we just got another update in the reflectivity. And again, it looks like it just continues to broaden out, which in my opinion is very good news. We're seeing it stretch off towards the northeast. There you have it. There is our polygon. So if you do live in northern Sumter County, and I'll go ahead and zoom us down in on that area as well, the eastern periphery of the polygon here, so we can take a closer look. Let me move us down in, and we'll move up to the north ever so slightly. Bear with me. Dusting off the rust. It's been a hot minute since I've had to use the hand tracker, so bear with me, folks. So Long Hammock, Moreland Park, Wildwood, Monarch, and Coleman, you are involved in this polygon. So definitely take this serious. You are inside the tornado warning. Even if there has not been a confirmed touchdown, you want to make sure that you have a plan in place. Begin to prepare to execute it just in case as this system works its way in off towards your west-southwest. It is moving at a fairly rapid click. I want to estimate you probably have about 10 to 15 minutes before this is overhead. And you can see that you're going to get the outer periphery of this within minutes, which could include some gustier winds regardless of tornadic activity and the potential for some small hail as the updraft continues to try to hold together. Currently, it's just to the south of Inverness, Rutland, Carlson, and then down near Floral City, the bottom portion of this polygon right in through here is where I would guesstimate if there is a mesocyclone, if there is a funnel associated with this thunderstorm, that is where the tornado would be. And unfortunately, once again, we don't really have a radar that's adequate or close enough to pinpoint exactly where this thing is trying to rotate. We'll pull you in over here so you can see it, and I'll switch us over to the Melbourne radar, see if we can get a better look. Yeah, see, no, we're a little too far away from the radar, so this is a bit of an unfortunate spot. Let me try the velocity out of the Tampa radar once again, see if we can pull this up. And once again, we have some beam blockage is what it's called. That's why we're getting that little bit of a ring there. You can see that there's that fine line, that cutoff. You ever watch the old movie Twister, the cone of silence? Not exactly the same principle. That's if you were too close to the radar, but we're wandering in between where the radar can catch this thing. So we're going to keep a close eye on it. We're going to use the reflectivity to our advantage, which is where we get those psychedelic colors, the shades of the green, yellows, and reds. This is still a tornado-warned storm, and we're going to stay on the air with you guys as long as we need to just monitor the progression of this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you out for a further view. It looks like this is continuing to unravel, which is good news. Let's take a wider shot at the local area and just take a look at what we have going on out there. Outside of this tornado-warned storm, for the rest of us in Sumter County, then off to our neighbors to the east in Lake County, we're doing fairly well right now. We actually haven't had as much of that severe weather coverage going on throughout the day today. We have had some gusty winds, a couple of intermittent power outages, nothing spectacular. Thankfully, we aren't fully realizing the effects of that level 2 risk that does encompass from the I-4 corridor up through the rest of the Florida Peninsula. So we're going to stay with this as long as we need to. Hopefully they discontinue this. I'm really not too impressed by this radar signature, but if you have received the tornado warning, it would behoove you to take this serious. National Weather Service is not going to issue a warning unless it warrants the need to do so, and I would definitely recommend if you're in the villages, Leesburg, Bellevue, anywhere in the immediate vicinity of this feature, as we all learned on Monday, sometimes these things will try to re-intensify, kind of gain a little bit more of that oomph as they continue off towards the east. It is a warm day out there. Thankfully, we have some precursor showers falling over parts of Lake County, the eastern periphery of Sumter County. That'll help to cool down the lowest levels of the atmosphere where we are at ground level, which is good news for the inflow with these types of supercells. They want that warmth. They want a little bit of that dry air. And the more rainfall we have around it, the more blobbed together this is, the less of a chance we have anything that lasts on the ground or even tries to come down to the ground at all. So as you can see back behind it, we're watching a couple of the more showers and storms just off the coast. Now getting back down towards the St. Petersburg, Tampa radar area. I know this isn't immediately in our viewing area, but this is what we've been tracking for a long duration of this afternoon. This is, I think, part of the main event. If this holds together, we could see some influence in our weather for parts of Polk and Osceola County. And as a matter of fact, let me zoom you on out a little bit further, and I'll take you on over to the East Coast to Brevard, because we did see some precursor thunderstorms fire up by themselves earlier this afternoon. And if you look in this general area, fairly impressive line of thunderstorms that are just now making its way offshore. We're going to watch these guys down on the bottom half of Brevard, because some of these do look like they may try to intensify, produce some small hail, gusty winds between 40 to 50 miles an hour. No severe thunderstorm warnings as of yet, but it's these guys, like I was just mentioning, folks, if you're still watching, whenever they form up by themselves, it's kind of free game. I wrote an article over on clickorlando.com, and to put it into perspective, it's kind of like trying to break out your best dance moves on the dance floor. It's a lot easier to bust a move when you're by yourself as opposed to rubbing elbows with everybody around you. The same principles apply for these supercells. If they're by themselves and they can take advantage of the environment, the warm, moist air, the instability that may have been cranked up during the daytime heating hours with the sun up, warming the surface of the earth, then they'll have a better capability of trying to produce stuff. And you can see from Rockledge down to Grant, Valcaria, Sebastian Inlet down to the south, these cells are looking fairly impressive. But let's get back over to the main event. We'll continue to track this with you guys hour by hour, second by second, truthfully. Let's go ahead and zoom in and take a look at the reflectivity on this, because now we're being blinded by the Inverness stamp there. There we go. All right, so I would imagine we should be able to let this go here very soon. Regardless, if you're in Rutland, Carlson, even back in Floral City, you just never know with these types of systems. Moreland Park, Wildwood, Monarch, and Coleman still remain in place. Don't venture outside. Don't go near any windows. Stay in the safest portion of your house while this tornado warning is in effect. There's a reason it is still active, and National Weather Service has every opportunity to cancel it, and there's a reason they haven't just yet. See if we can switch over to the velocity, see if we're finally picking it back up again. Doesn't quite look like much. We might still be in this area of radar blockage, beam blockage as it's called. We'll switch us back over to the base reflectivity for you all so we can continue to watch it. Yeah, not a very impressive signature, but again, they're still carrying that tornado warning, so just out in front of us here, we'll zoom in just a little bit more so we can get down to almost street level. And it looks like where our area of rotation is, it should be somewhere back in through here. Usually when tracking these types of thunderstorms that are capable of producing a tornado, you want this bit of a signature here. Very high reflectivities, either off towards the north or loaded back towards the northwest, and then a clearing trend or a dry slot. That would indicate your inflow helping to rotate your thunderstorm. So that would be this right in through here where it looks like there is no rain or shower coverage. And then you can see just to the west of Rutland, we have those higher reflectivities, the shades of the yellows, the oranges, and the reds. But this is quickly falling apart, which is good news. Then we're just going to have to track the remnants of it right in through here between Carlson and Coleman. So again, Moreland Park, Wildwood, Brownwood, let's go ahead and zoom back up towards the northeast. Long Hammock, you want to remain in a safe place just to be on the safe side. I would imagine they are going to discontinue this. Based on the radar we were seeing just moments ago, I'm going to switch over to the Melbourne radar as a matter of fact. There we go. And let's come on out. Let's zoom out together. Come on out, radar. Let's go. Let's go. Allez, allez. There we go. Perfect. So I want to take us back to Brevard County as well, because these guys are looking kind of spicy over here. Let's zoom on in. I know we've got that active tornado warning, but these guys are also looking fairly impressive. A little more impressive, if you ask me, between Rockledge and Sebastian down there. We have some very high reflectivities. So despite not being under a severe thunderstorm warning or a special weather statement, we could have one. The Lynx radar I'm using right now doesn't have any special weather statements available currently. I can add that overlay here momentarily once that tornado warning is discontinued. But I do want us in southern Brevard, if you're tuning in right now, from the south of Cape Canaveral just to the immediate south of Cape Canaveral through Rockledge, Satellite Beach, Indy Atlantic, Palm Bay, Grant Valcaria, Mico. We need to be watching these systems. They are progressing off generally towards the east-northeast, but especially with some of these higher magenta colors right in through here. Let me take you on in. You can see that the updrafts of these cells are really intensifying. This is where you get those strong gusty winds that could knock out power, cause a little bit of structural damage as well. These are fairly impressive. These are the ones that developed a little under an hour ago by themselves over southern Osceola County. And it looks like they're holding on, trying to kind of tap into some of the Gulf Stream that's just off the coast there, keep them strong and self-sustaining. Let's get back over to our tornado warning. So good news, I would imagine they're going to discontinue this here hopefully very soon. Switch back over to the Tampa radar, see if we can get a velocity signature on it. We're still just outside of the viewing point. And then just to give you a very brief crash course, even though it doesn't look like I changed through anything, if you look, we have the velocity product and the storm relative. Quick crash course, velocity is just general winds regardless of what's happening in the atmosphere. Storm relative is actually the radar itself alienating an individual thunderstorm and taking out the winds that are going on around it so we can see that more pronounced spin that could be occurring inside the cell. And right now we don't have those really available to us. So we'll switch back to, and there you have it. Beautiful. We're done. We've discontinued the warning just outside of the Villages and Leesburg. It doesn't quite look like it even made that crossover into Sumter County, which is excellent news. So you're all good there, and it looks like that system has pretty much collapsed. You could still be receiving some gusty winds, anywhere between 35, 40, maybe even 45 miles an hour when you take into account the winds we've already had cranking throughout the day today. So beautiful news, folks. Doesn't look like we have anything warranting a tornado warning at this time. So we can now shift gears, kind of take you back out for a wide view. This is what we've got going on over Central Florida right now. Outside of our viewing area between Hillsborough, Pinellas County, we have some stuff working its way in. And you can see there is a small little storm report right here. I'll step out of the way. This little icon right there just to the south of Palm Harbor, that is a storm report. Storm spotter must have reported some gusty, damaging straight-line winds down in that general area. But right now, we are now clear across the board. No severe thunderstorms at this time. This was the leading edge of our band that we were watching rock in earlier, and thankfully, these have also kind of rained out. If you look at the way the radar is picking them up, they're very grainy, kind of like pixelated, the old Nintendo 64 games we used to play way back in the day. This means everything is blurred together. We have no structural updraft or any organized thunderstorms. It's these guys we're going to continue to watch, and these are actually looking fairly healthy. I'm honestly surprised we don't have anything with these. We could have a special weather statement on them right now. Osceola, Orange County, Seminole County, we are all good. There's really not much going on. I've had some of my family out there in the Haines City area, Poinciana area, mention it looks great out there. The sun is still shining. So we are definitely within intermittent pockets of heavier rainfall, thunderstorms, and the sporadic occasional tornado warning, which is exactly why we're here in the Weather Center covering you all down. So I'll say again, from Port St. John, just to the immediate south of Port St. John in Brevard County, Rockledge, Satellite Beach, you're getting it right now, Palm Bay, Grant Valcaria down to the periphery of Brevard County. We have some fairly organized thunderstorms here, and you can count them with me. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 down here right along the Brevard County border there, the southernmost border. These are your more organized thunderstorms where you're probably getting a lot of that frequent cloud-to-ground lightning or even in-cloud lightning. Probably hearing a lot of thunder out there right now, getting some gusty winds from these things. But the good news is with the general flow helping to push these things off, they are going to be moving offshore here, hopefully within the next 20 to 30 minutes. It'll be this southern edge of this line of thunderstorms that are trying to continue to hold together. Hopefully they merge together. This just becomes a much-needed rain event for everybody down there in southern Brevard. We're going to keep watching this, but I don't really see any risk for any tornadic spin-ups. These are all too close together, but naturally we'll keep a close eye on it, and we'll see what happens from there. But right now, go ahead and take you out for a wide view. This is the main event. We're coming up on 5:30. It is 5:14 in the afternoon. We were pinpointing that a large majority of the impacts will be felt here in Central Florida near Orlando, the attractions, the airport area, the Four Corners counties between 6 and 8 o'clock. So we are still on track. We'll continue to watch the progression of what's happening down near Tampa, St. Petersburg, because that seems to be our more robust line of thunderstorms coming in off of the eastern Gulf. We did have some discrete stuff, cells forming up by themselves in Osceola and Orange, but those are the ones we're seeing now in Brevard, and they're almost off the coast. It's kind of neat here, too. We can admire them from a safe distance. But if you look, each of these cells that are now over the water, they are starting to try to re-intensify. It looks like they are getting their act together just a little bit more, and that's because of the warm water beneath them. So it's a good sign that they're off the coast and pushing away. But Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to be sticking it out here in the Pinpoint Weather Center. We will break live again immediately if we do get another tornadic signature or any kind of significant warning out there in our viewing area. But for now, let's get you back to that basketball game. We'll talk to you again here very soon, folks.
This severe weather alert is sponsored by Renewal by Andersen.